unplugged it and plugged it back in.
That's not nothing. That's that's the definition of something.
In fact,
that would be a reset.
Yeah,
well, I don't know what to do. I mean, if it sounds better, I guess it sounds better.
Yeah, you sound great.
The same fucking...
Let me just say this, Nick. If it makes you feel better, that's exactly how I got my computer to work today.
Yeah, you sound great. We're all good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So now that we're all together and we're all on mic,
praise Jesus.
Shall we just do a quick version of "I Ain't Got No" of Scrubs? No. I don't want no scrubs. A scrub is a person who ain't get no love from me. Hanging out your best friend's car.
I think Nick might be too young for this song.
Yeah.
He might be.
I don't know. I heard it and it stuck in my mind.
The Scrubs song?
The Scrubs came out
giving me
probably.
A blank look, so
yeah,
I'm gonna go with he's too young for it.
I think it was the year he was born.
Song. I keep thinking you're talking about Scrubs, the TV show.
No.
Oh my God, no, TLC, my dude.
I don't want no scrubs. A scrub is a guy who can't get no love from me. Then my best friend's ride from the passenger side. Then holler at me.
All right. I think I speak for everyone who may or may not be listening to this right now that shit has got to stop.
I didn't want to participate. I felt forced to participate based on your lack of knowledge.
All right.
Okay, well, beautiful. Let me just relieve that pressure from you right now. Now I know. Now everybody knows, unfortunately. So,
all right.
Moving on.
Okay, so Dad did some traveling this week. Elsie learned some things about trails and whatnot.
That wasn't my exciting thing. That was my interjection on his exciting thing.
Yeah, but I erased all of that.
Yeah, we're starting over.
We're starting over now that Nick's here.
I begged and pleaded, but
Jesus.
failed.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus. So what did everyone do this week, guys? Because
we got to have the whole. Yeah, we got to start from the beginning.
It's the intro. No. We don't need to do that.
Yeah, we do.
That's what I said.
I'll tell you what. If someone wants to listen to the intro, they can go to a previous episode, listen to that intro.
Everybody raise your hand if we should just pick up where we left off.
Because it's just the same one every time.
It's too late. All right.
We're all raising your hands.
Here we go. All right, here we go. Welcome to A Shin Show. I'm your host, Pete Shin. With me, son Nicholas, daughter Sarah, and we also have spouse Elsie, and I accidentally unplugged my headphones, so I can't actually hear anything that I'm saying right now, but I'm sure it sounds just fine. Anyway,
dulcet tones are coming across just fine.
Right. You know that's right. All right. So, yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since the last pod. I went to Alaska and I went to Florida. I saw some cool space shit. I saw global warming in Alaska. Maybe not global warming, but I certainly saw Alaska warming, and since it's part of the globe, I'm going to call it global warming because they're on the planet.
I think we're calling it climate change now.
Yeah,
I think that's the sexy new term.
Right.
I've been listening to this podcast called It Could Happen Here, which is about the potential next civil war in America. I think I've talked about this, but the guy laid down some facts about how, so we're super polarized, right? The left hates the right hates the left. And yet, I think it's something like 56% of Republicans do believe in climate change. And then something like, 42% of the left believe in responsible gun control, not just take all your guns. And it's almost like if we would talk to each other, that we could come to some sort of policy agreement. But the media doesn't want us to, so we don't.
The silent majority has never been in closer alignment, in my opinion, and yet no one's talking about it.
We're talking about
Continue.
it. Here we are talking about it.
Talking about it.
Yep, we're talking about it.
Anyway, climate change is real. You saw it this week.
I also saw it in May, by the way, on the other side of the Arctic. Yeah, the Arctic is warming, dude. Disproportionately compared to other parts of the planet, by the way.
12 years. We got about 12 years before we better figure out this space shit and the Earth kills us.
Well, interestingly about that, so an engineer friend of mine who's, I'm never fully sure if he's crazy or just so smart that you don't know how to comprehend it. I think it's a mix of the two, honestly. But anyway, he has worked with the Army Corps. He's done sustainability studies before. And his personal belief and theory is that when you have ice in a cup, it melts. It actually lowers the overall water level than it did when ice was in it because ice takes more space proportionately than water. So as the ice caps and the glaciers and everything melt, the sea level's not really going to rise significantly. It's all the extra moisture in the air and the effects it's going to have in the atmosphere, in his personal opinion.
All right, so here's I've been thinking about that because I'm like, that doesn't seem right, and here's why that does not seem correct to me. Think about this for a second. Yes, if ice in a glass melts, sure, the water level's going to drop. no question. But what if the ice is not in the glass, but is on a bowl running off into the glass? See, the ice that is melting is not in the ocean right now. It's on land. See, so if it melts and then goes into the ocean, then the ocean levels rise because it's like a bowl of ice melting and dripping into a glass. Make sense?
Also, what about condensation? Doesn't that have something to do with the fact that the water level in the glass doesn't rise because it's all melting off the sides?
Well, true, and that would be theoretically what off gases basically is additional humidity in the environment worldwide. Which is going to happen inevitably anyway, actually.
Since I live in the Midwest, the whole rising sea level thing doesn't really affect me, so...
If it gets over the mountains on either side, though, you guys are fucked, am I right?
Well, that's a lot of fucking land. At that point, I feel like I have some warning, and if I'm still here, when it rises over both sets of the mountains, I kind of deserve it.
Yeah, well, it's the mighty Missouri, though, that you got to worry about.
That's no fucking joke.
It is.
That is no joke.
It is. It's true. The Missouri River has risen from its banks many times.
Yep.
Although we're going to need to start shooting our rockets. When we start colonizing other planets, we're going to need our space stations to not be on the edge of water everywhere, like Houston and Cape Canaveral. Am I right?
Nah, dog. It's fine. It's fine.
It'll be fine.
Don't worry about it.
We'll put it up on stilts like a house in Florida.
Just keep an eye on it.
Yeah. As Uncle Guy would say, you worry too much, kid.
That's right.
Uncle Guy promised he'd try and be here today. But he's not here.
He let us down.
He did. Well, it's not too
liar.
late. He could show up at any moment.
That's true. Wild card.
Wild card. It's true. All right. So in the new. So what's been going on with you kids? I mean, I went traveling. Elsie did not go traveling. What did you kids do?
I smashed my finger about 20 minutes ago. I'm still pretty salty about that.
Ouch.
Nice.
Doing what?
We're putting in a patio, as we have been for like 3 fucking months.
Yeah.
So we're getting to the end, and I smashed my finger.
Are you going to have a purple fingernail?
Well, you see, my nails are already kind of painted, so it's impossible to tell how much damage I've actually done. It's just very ouchy.
Got it. Maybe it's a little bit. Maybe your nail's coming off. Hard to tell.
Hard to tell, but they still look great, so go shellac or something.
Yeah, that's the important thing. It's better to look good than to feel good.
Thanks.
That's my motto. How about you? Is Nick still there? Nick, you still there?
You with us?
Yeah.
Well, what'd you do the last, 17 weeks or so?
Nothing.
All right, good.
So if you did nothing, then during the we can get back to if you think of something.
No, hold on. That's not true.
Okay.
I did go get an apartment.
That's right.
Oh, hey. Details. We need you don't have to disclose your location. We wouldn't expect that. But I would like some details.
Well, okay, I went in there and I said, here's my pay stubs. I can't do your bullshit online application because it's pissing me off. So could you please help me? And the lady was like, even the lady herself multiple times said, what the fuck? What the fuck? When she was trying to do the online application. You work here, lady, and you don't even know what the fuck's going on.
That's pretty great.
So, what the fuck? So many times. Anyway, so we finally got that figured out. And she's like, well, okay, now we've sent it in, and it's maybe a couple days before we hear back whether or not you're approved. And then she looks over at her computer, and she's like, oh, you're approved. Bullshit. August 20th.
All right, August 20th. Very good. All right, so moving into a new crib.
Into a new crib. I feel like I saw a movie. Oh, yeah, you know what, dude? I watched, have we all seen A Quiet Place?
No.
Is that the one
with John Krasinski, the guy from The Office? He also directed it.
Yeah. No, neither one of you two have.
But we know the premise.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good movie. It's obviously it's suspenseful.
It was fine.
Yeah,
No bitch is gonna give birth in a fucking bathtub when you have to be silent and be silent about it. But okay, it's fine.
Well, you would if you possibly could if your life depended on it. Like if there's a monster right outside. But here's my gripe with it, okay?
Whatever.
Yeah.
If a monster from miles away can hear you drop a fucking paint frame.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm trying to say. Yeah. Anyway, a frame for a painting, then he can hear you.
Frame?
So she's like right there in front of it, like just not making any noise, but she's clearly like panting, like
right.
Yeah, panting is noisy. It is.
He can hear that. Like they would be able to hear your heartbeat if they can hear from that far away. Of number one. Number two,
an infant.
Well, that on top of like, dude, you can soundproof your house. There's very cheap, easy ways to just soundproof your house. Just do that. Yeah. You're good to go. And it's like,
I feel like they did that with The Basement. Like, wasn't that the whole thing?
They did, but they used anything but soundproofing things. They taped a shitload of paper and tape. I'm like, what do you? Just get some egg cartons and fucking.
Well, they don't have the internet anymore, okay? Clearly, they never figured out how to soundproof shit.
Yeah, I guess not.
Okay, so the entirety of society collapses, and you're telling me that the government has absolutely no means to destroy these monsters. They're not even aliens.
But she could do it with a shotgun?
Yeah, but once the deaf chick fucks with her hearing aid, and then it, like, fucks the creature up and exposes its vitals to the shotgun, like, no one in the entire U.S. government could have possibly thought of trying something like that.
But it kind of fell apart towards the end.
Yeah. Well, I work for the government and never underestimate its incompetence.
Right, that, and then their ability to just disagree about a thing to the point of an action.
Okay, all right.
I'll accept that.
I guess.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, it's a good movie. Great acting.
Okay.
Is that what you watched in the past 2 weeks? Is that why you bring it up?
No, I just watched that the other night. I watched something else, too. Can't remember. But
Yeah, you're just getting right into it. You're just doing it right now. We're
doing it.
I'm doing it.
So what kind of news do we got?
Well, wait.
We're putting it in a different order this week. We're just doing what we watched first.
But you got, all right.
I
fine.
still haven't talked about what I did.
Yeah, what'd you
over the
do?
last 2 weeks.
What'd you do, Chelsea?
I care about me. So we had a fucking terrible heat wave here last weekend. It was heat indexes of minimum 108 in the middle of the day.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you where here is, but it was hot.
Yeah, it was really, really hot. So I had to wait until 10 o'clock at night to take the dog for a walk because God forbid the dog not get her fucking walk. So we'd be walking from like 10 to midnight. And then in the daytime, we kept all the curtains closed. We just tried to keep it cool and dark. He didn't want to move.
Do you guys have central air?
It's Maryland. It's Maryland. That's where we're at. I mean, I said I wasn't going to say we're in Maryland.
The heat and the humidity is so bad that you just take a step outside and it's like,
here in Maryland.
Yeah. Anyway, so all day last Sunday, I did something I haven't done since high school, and I just sat on my ass and watched 8 hours of TV straight, and I'm pretty ashamed of myself, but I did watch the whole season 1 of a show called What If on Netflix with Renee Zellweger. And it was interesting. It had a bunch of plot holes, but it was interesting. And Renee Zellweger is kind of a bad guy, so it was good for that purpose.
I didn't even know Renee Zellweger was still alive.
You're ashamed of yourself for only watching 8 hours of TV?
I'm ashamed of myself for watching anything more than 2 hours of TV. Yes,
those are amateur hours.
Rookie fucking numbers, dude. You gotta bump those numbers up.
I've been an adult far too long.
Oh, that's good.
Little League.
Little League numbers for Netflix. Got it. All right.
So the Renee Zellweger thing was interesting.
What
Okay.
if? What if? What if Renee Zellweger was still alive and had a career? What if?
What if Renee Zellweger was even remotely objectively attractive?
What if?
Who the fuck? What else? Okay,
What if she doesn't need your all's condescending judgment? What the fuck have you guys done with yourselves? Jesus.
I'll tell you what I've done that Renee Zellweger hasn't done was
Yes.
be born with a normal face.
And I don't see Renee Zellweger with a podcast. I mean, so I've got one up on her. And oh, by the way, I've never seen Renee Zellweger at Ziff's. Fine dining in a relaxed continental atmosphere in Invercargill, New Zealand. For all of your fine dining needs in Invercargill, come on down to Ziff's. After you're done, head on over to the Throne Room. Get yourself a nice, refreshing tattoo from New Zealand's finest tattoo artists at the Throne Room. Both the Throne Room and Ziff's, fake sponsors of a Shin show for more than a billionth of a millennium. All right. Anyway, so did you watch anything, Sarah?
I'm caught up on Handmaid's Tale, which, I'm mostly just watching out of, I guess, loyalty at this point.
Right.
It's not that great anymore.
Yeah, I
You
just
need a
keep
sense
seeing,
of completion
every time
about
I
it.
walk in and you're watching that show, I just keep seeing the same characters in the same couple of rooms, like just not talking, being real tense or something. I'm like, what? What
And
are we
those are
doing
the
now?
best parts. You're coming in on.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Right.
That girl's face is just so unfortunate. I'm shitting on
Right,
Renee Zellweger,
right.
but
Really, Elizabeth Moss wins. Am I right?
is that her name?
Jesus, yeah.
She's also the
That's her
chick in Mad Men.
Yeah.
She's in some new movie with some other bitches where they their husbands
Melissa
go
McCarthy and somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I think it's Hell's Kitchen or something,
Yes.
or Hell's something.
Yes.
It's Hell's Kitchen. I'm pretty sure.
Or Hot in the Kitchen. I think it's Hot in the Kitchen. That's
I
what
don't fucking think that's what it
It's
is.
Hell's Kitchen.
Hot in the kitchen.
It is.
Not with Elizabeth Moss, am I right?
Wow. And you thought, what's wrong with Elizabeth Moss? Millions love her.
She has that face and she acts the way she does. Like, as an actress, she has no depth. She is the same character and with that face.
Yeah, she has that face, kind of says it
The
all.
Kitchen.
All
It's called The Kitchen.
Oh, The Kitchen. It's neither hell nor hot. It's just The Kitchen. Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that movie looks good.
Oh, it does. Okay. Even though it has Elizabeth Moss in it. And you
Yeah.
all hate Elizabeth
I think
Moss.
it looks interesting. I don't hate her. I just wish that Handmaid's Tale would figure out what the fuck it's doing with its life.
And I don't hate her. It's just like her face is literally not pleasant to look at. Like it's a chore to look at her for extended
Right,
periods.
and I wouldn't say she's ugly. She's not ugly. She's very proportionate. It's just, it's not, it's, you don't want to look at it.
It's not ugly. It's just like someone, like a giant, kind of grabbed the back of her head with his forefingers when she was a kid, and with his thumb just like pressed her face in.
I
Like,
don't
really
think.
hard.
Yeah, I don't agree. All right.
No,
Anyway.
right between the eyes, so that her eyes kind of move farther apart than what they should be.
Yes, the mouth's too wide and the eyes are too far apart. She's kind of like that Snapchat filter of herself at all times.
Y'all are
She
crazy.
kind of looks like a Halloween costume of her own self. Like she's just wearing a Halloween costume mask of her face,
of
but
Elizabeth
that's just
Moss.
her face.
That's just Elizabeth.
She set it
Moss.
outside in the sun for a while. It melted a little bit, and then she wore it.
All right. So I did not see anything, but because I don't like watching movies on planes. It's it doesn't do it for me. So what I did do instead was I read a book by I can't remember, but it's called *Sapiens*, and it's a brief history of Homo sapiens, which is human beings. So we go back 70,000 years, and why are we where we're at, and where do we think we're going? Really quite interesting.
Nerd.
Yeah, can I just make a motion, though, that anybody listening to this podcast who doesn't know what Homo sapien is shouldn't be listening to this podcast?
Yeah, that's
No.
true. You shouldn't have to clarify what a Homo sapien
Yeah,
is.
for real.
Well,
Yeah.
I just want people to know, in case I'm a married man, don't want them to think I'm reading any kind of gay porn. That's all.
That is so terrible that you would even think people would hear Homo sapien and think,
There's
is he
so-
homosexual? Like, again, if you think that, you shouldn't be listening to this pod.
Actually, I think we've already determined no one should be listening to this pod under any circumstances in any event.
Ever.
Isn't that true?
At any point.
Yeah.
At that point, that means you thought the three of us didn't know what Homo sapien meant. Which
Well,
is it?
I don't know, dog. But here's what I know for sure. It was a very good book with, a disappointing ending, much like Homo sapiens itself, probably. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Circle of life.
All right. So look, I don't have anything else that we've watched, but I do have a super exciting update that I need to tell you guys about.
Oh, I'm
We
listening.
love super exciting updates.
We do.
It's like the most exciting update in the history of updates.
Oh, God, the suspense is killing me.
I'm bracing
But
myself.
I'm actually
ready.
going to let Nick reveal it. So,
Oh, what?
Nick, I'm going to text you this news article, and I need you to read it out loud.
Well, that sounds fun. That's like a fun activity.
Speaking of news articles, your father wrote a news article for the Air
I already
Force
knew about
Times.
this.
Did
Yeah.
you? Okay,
I
well,
did
read
know
it out
about
loud
it.
anyway.
I worked right. I was okay.
Just
Whatever.
read it. Read it. It's the update.
All
It's
right,
the
I'm going.
update.
Shut up. I'm going. All right.
Is this the crazy guy at Nick's work?
No.
No,
Kind of.
no. Would you let him
All
let,
right,
let him do the
fine.
activity? Come on.
They got the suspense.
Okay. So here we go. Oh wait. I clicked out of it. All right, wait, here we go. Human remains found in abandoned Council Bluffs supermarket had been there for a decade.
I see.
Police have identified a body discovered in a former no-frills supermarket. Last week, the Council Bluffs Police Department received information from the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation Criminalistics Laboratory regarding the identity of the body, which was located January 24th in the vacant store at 1817 West
So
Broadway.
just as a recap, Nick thought that this was Pentagram Head that had killed a Scary Mary and
Yeah.
shoved her in between the coolers.
Yes.
Yeah, I did because I worked right next to that no frills. And there was homeless people doing all kind of shit around
right.
that.
I remember that episode. Yes.
Yeah, like strange things. Like, and I'm talking real homeless people, not those people you see on the side of the road just begging for change. These are like real mentally ill, fucking batshit, shoot up in your fucking bathroom for a couple hours, and come out and piss on the front of your store, homeless people. So,
Sweating bullets.
yeah,
To be clear,
That's a very specific kind.
that is.
to be clear, yeah, okay.
So,
So there's this homeless lady, Scary Mary, everyone calls her. She's notorious in Council Bluffs.
Yes.
She went missing. Like no one had seen her. You always see her walking around with a trash bag full of fucking
yes.
or whatever it is she's doing. And
so you thought Pentagram Head had killed Scary Mary?
I didn't think, I just thought maybe someone killed her. I didn't think specifically he did, but they said they found a body stuffed up in there, and I'm like, I bet it's Scary Mary.
Well, now we're going to find out. Here's the rest of the update.
Yeah.
Let me read the rest, which I already knew this, but it is still crazy as fuck. Because keep in mind, now, hold on.
You got to keep in mind the timeline of events here.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind the timeline of event. They've now discovered that this body has been there for a decade.
Right.
That store closed like 3 years ago. 2 years ago.
Oh, snap.
Shit.
Yeah. So that body had been rotting in the fucking frozen aisle.
Years.
Yeah, nobody smelled
That's
that. All right, here
terrible.
we go.
What was the frozen aisle?
Yeah, you only smell it for the first couple years.
No,
All right,
you don't
go.
smell it when it's
Let me read
frozen.
the rest of the update.
All right.
Father of missing Council Bluffs man wants answers 10 years after son's disappearance. The victim was identified as Larry Eli Mario Moncada of Council Bluffs. The state lab was able to make a positive identification by using DNA from Mario's biological parents. On November 8, 2009, Mario's parents reported him missing after he became upset and ran out of their home. He was 25 years old at the time. Okay. The mother had an idea that he has never left No Frills, said Sergeant Brandon Danielson. I don't know how she came up with that idea, but his parents are pretty upset. Larry was employed at No Frills Supermarket at the time of his disappearance. The autopsy indicated no signs of trauma. Former employees of No Frills Supermarket said it was common for workers to be on top of the coolers as the space was utilized for storage of goods. Investigators believe Maria went to the store after leaving his home, climbed on top of the coolers where he fell into an approximate 18-inch gap between the back of the cooler and a wall, becoming trapped. The case is being closed and classified as an accidental death.
Oh, my God.
How do you fall back in that crack and not, yell for help to the point of being heard at some point? I mean, Jesus Christ, he had to be there for 2 days alive and never said anything to anybody?
I figure he hyperventilated and, asphyxiated that way or something. He had to have, right? Because, like you said, because how long can you survive without water? 2-3 days?
Tops.
So he fell in 2009. The No Frills closed in 2016. So that's 7 years of operation.
Well, and
that body was there.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, he's not in a cooler. So, yeah, you would think somebody would say, wow, something doesn't smell good. Hey, has anybody seen Mario?
What's this? Yeah. What's this long brown stain seeping from underneath the coolers? Because bodies are gonna fucking degenerate.
Jesus!
Unnecessary detail. Wow.
Yeah, it seems like the cops killed that motherfucker, stuffed him back there, and then when someone found him, was like, "Oh yeah, he fell." Case closed.
Yeah, it sounds like something shitty is involved here.
Yeah, I don't feel like we have the full story. This article raises more questions than it answers.
Right.
Yeah. What's even crazier is, there was just somebody decomposing right next to where I worked for a year.
For 10 years?
Well, while I was working there for a year, but yeah, he had been there.
That's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. Well, and this is why when they tear down that No Frills and put up a housing development, it's going to be haunted. And people will say, why?
Hell
why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That No Frills didn't seem very haunted.
Yeah.
You think that if he was haunting it, he would be like, "Hey, go find my fucking body. It's right here."
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Why does that freezer door keep opening and shutting?
I don't know if it was haunted, but if such a thing could happen, there's just a lot of bad chi and negative energy going on at that fucking No Frills. That No Frills is like a temple to homeless debauchery.
Temple to homeless debauchery, and yet the corpse itself is not homeless.
The corpse is decomposing in the midst of all that.
Yeah. Well, all right. Let us never speak of Council Bluffs again.
Council Tucky, we calls it.
Yeah, it's true. It is called that by many. It is true. It's like Council Bluffs is some ghetto of Omaha.
Yeah, well, it's crazy the change as soon as you go over there. All the people are they're just different, and the homeless people are really fucking
out
I get control.
It. Yeah. All right. Anyway. Yeah, we get it. Council Bluffs. It's a hellhole. Which reminds me, maybe President Trump should tweet at the representative who represents Council Bluffs. That'll help clean things up, yes?
right?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's working for Boston or wherever the fuck that was.
How about
That would be,
Baltimore?
yeah, that'd be
How
Baltimore.
about Baltimore? Just up the road from us, right here in Maryland.
Oh, I'm going to have to find what the Baltimore Sun wrote back to Trump this morning. It's very interesting.
And basically what they said is, hey, you've got more power to do anything about this than Elijah Cummings has. So, I mean, recently, over the last couple of weeks, President Trump has found it in his political interest to tweet angry rants against congresspersons of color. Now, some say, the president and his supporters say, well, that's not racist. They just happen to be people who are brown or black.
Right. I'm not targeting them. They just all are awful.
What a coincidence, right? So, although in fairness, President Trump is an equal opportunity hater for sure, but recently, all of his targets have been brown or black, to the delight of white supremacists, by the way.
Is he an equal opportunity hater, though? When has he ever hated on any white man?
Well,
He's on a couple of white people.
yeah, how about Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden? How about all of his opponents in the Republican fight? So, yeah, he's an equal opportunity.
Tom Green. You don't like him.
Little Marco. Let's see, who else? What were his nicknames? He had some Marco Rubio. He had some great nicknames for some of his low energy jab. Let's see, who else? Who else was running against him? I can't remember now, but he had a bunch of. I mean, obviously he's picked on Mika Brzezinski. Remember her from Morning Joe? Her face was bleeding badly from a facelift. Anyway.
Yeah, that's all the kind of shit that like holds no bearing in my universe. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of stuff that I don't pay attention to. There's no if I dwelled on that kind of stuff, it would piss me off.
Yeah.
Anyway, by the way, newsflash. This guy's the president. How about that? Anyway, so
Go vote. That's the point. Is you
also
gotta go vote.
newsflash, the world keeps turning. At a certain point, there's only so much one president has power over. You know what I mean? It's true. He is the commander in chief.
Yeah,
True.
only so much power until
he's got the codes.
he
Okay.
decides he wants more power. Like
Well,
this is how totalitarian regimes start.
Yeah, but I don't think that would fly here.
I will say this.
That's what everybody thinks until it happens.
Well, but then what? So that's it forever? Like everyone in America is just going to let the government step on their neck with their boot?
Then your fucking life will be impacted.
Well, hang on now.
Okay.
Let's just take a step back from the edge, shall we?
But we like running full tilt towards it.
That's true, we do. It's fun.
It's a thrill.
We like running Naruto style with our arms back behind
Okay,
us.
well, what I'm saying is I don't think he's in danger of like extending his presidency. Okay, first off,
We'll see
and
what
I
happens
don't.
after the 2020
What I do
election.
think is going to happen, well, beyond legal parameters, he may get. I think it's very likely actually he may get elected again this next time. But I think that'll be it. I don't think he's going to fucking.
Hopefully he'll die before.
I don't
then.
think he's going to want to do that. I think after.
You can't say that. That'll bring police around to your door. Just FYI.
Well, he's old. That's all I mean.
I got you, but nevertheless, in any event,
Okay, all right. Anyway, before Dad kind of derailed me right there, I don't think he would want to do that.
That
You
was
know
my
what I mean?
bad.
Whatever. The point is, it's gonna be okay. Is what I'm trying to tell everybody. It's
Okay.
gonna be all right. Like we're gonna be. The world is still gonna keep turning. We're still gonna go do our jobs. We're gonna pay our fucking taxes. We're gonna keep eating cheeseburgers. It's gonna be okay. Like there's a lot of like outrage and like uproar, and I feel like that's being reported more because of the ability for people to see it now more than it used to
And
be.
polarize.
Yeah, but it's like it's not as bad as the media and everyone in the world wants us to think it is. Like, despite how bad we think it is, we're actually living in better times than humans ever have before. Okay, and it's like we're okay, we're good. You know what I mean? It's gonna be okay.
Go vote.
Okay, I hear what you're saying about all that, but nevertheless, it is still, from my point of view, not an acceptable situation where the President of the United States personally attacks members of Congress via Twitter. I mean, it's just...
You're right. It's not professional. It's childish.
It's unseemly. Yeah, I don't like it. But I do like the response of Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut. You know what he did?
What'd he do?
He said, I have unfollowed President Trump. I'm like, now there's a sensible approach. If more people unfollowed him, it would make less difference.
Yeah.
So we're going, rather than hold one person accountable who is in a position to be very, very scrutinized, we're going to hold literally everybody else accountable. I mean, there's always just going to be morons that follow him.
Well, but we've tried to hold him accountable, and so since that's not working, just stop listening to him.
Right, but there's just so many more stupid people than smart people.
Delete Facebook. Delete Twitter. Lawyer up. Hit the gym.
Yeah, not necessarily in that order.
Don't skip leg day.
Never skip leg day.
Jesus never skipped leg day. Have you seen him? He looks great.
You seen
Up
those
top?
quads?
Solid.
Oh my God,
Seen
attractive.
those fucking glutes on our Lord and Savior?
Nice.
There's a reason he's faced forward on the cross, because if he was faced around, the sermons would never get.
I just want to know how they pierced those sweet abs.
All right, that's enough, you two. Oh my God.
Christ-like glutes.
You're both going to hell.
Let us all make our way to the Iron Temple and pray to our Lord in the form of glute-shaping exercises.
Did you bring your P90 DVD?
Bring it. All right. Okay, so yeah, that happened this week, and then there were some other things. Hey, there's a new Prime Minister of Britain, a guy named Boris Johnson, who's just like President Trump.
Yeah, I
Boris.
saw that.
My man Boris.
My man. Anyway.
My man.
So
Hey, I heard something cool today.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was a couple days ago.
yeah.
Whatever. It's today now.
Yeah. There's this guy who lived in Fort Bragg. He pretended to be a soldier, like,
Yeah.
and he was living there for like 3 years, and he only got caught because he got busted driving drunk on base.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
They arrested him, and they're like, "Wait, so who the fuck are you?" And he's like, yeah, actually, I'm not even.
I'm not even in.
Yeah, I'm not in, dude.
I'm
Yeah.
not supposed to be here.
Yeah. So first off, let's just talk about how many people would have had to have fucked up for this guy to just go undetected for 3 years as like no, he had no ID. So here, let me read a little bit of this right here. It
Yeah.
says Army officials are trying to figure out how a civilian managed to live for several months at Fort Bragg, eating and bunking with special forces operators despite
So fucking
not
funny.
being a member of the military. The unidentified man, who a source told FoxNews.com is mentally ill, was found out last month and has been questioned. The source said that the man told the real soldiers he lived among that he was a demolition specialist and exempt from the daily activities they took part in.
Nice.
Now, having deployed with the Army for 15 months, I can tell you that does not seem outside of the realm of something like would happen in the Army. Because
The Fort Bragg provost marshal was immediately contacted and the individual was detained by the military police. The situation is under investigation, read the statement.
yes, I'm sure it is. I'm sure they're trying to figure out, how did this guy get on base? How was he bugging with special forces operators? And why, oh why, you dumbasses, didn't you ever fucking ask him for an ID card?
Yeah.
That's what I don't
15
understand.
months.
Yeah, don't you need that every fucking time you get on the base? Like
No,
you
well,
Never left the base.
Exactly. If you get on once, okay, you never have to show it really unless you want. I mean, it's not like you can, but
He
I don't
wasn't
know.
shopping at the commissary, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't know how he was eating, frankly.
look.
I mean,
Let me just, one more little snippet here.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Captain Douglas Ray, a representative for the 3rd Special Forces Group, said that the investigation was ongoing and declined to elaborate on how long the man had been in the barracks and why no questions were raised by his president.
oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. An army of one, truly. All right. I know that's not their motto anymore. What is the Army motto these days? I don't even know. Interesting. But whatever it is, that guy, yeah, that's pretty funny.
He's a smooth criminal, that's for sure.
Yeah, so smooth. And he did get caught eventually, but he got caught how? By getting a DUI?
Yeah.
So which begs the question, where was he drinking?
where was he getting his booze?
Yeah.
Was he stealing all this shit?
Whose car was he in? There's a reason they're not giving us all this information, is because so many people had to fuck up for this guy to succeed at this, that they want to kind of keep this under wraps, is my,
Yeah.
is my guess.
There's so many people involved, they can't fire everybody because then the base wouldn't be staffed anymore.
Yeah, well, speaking of military malfeasance, they've arrested 18 Marines
I saw
in
that.
California and Camp Pendleton for drugs and human trafficking. I can't even say human trafficking. I'm so ashamed. Yeah, drugs and human trafficking charges down in Pendleton, California.
I read it was human smuggling charges.
Yeah, well,
Same shit.
yeah,
No,
it's the
it's
same
not the
thing.
same
It is the
What's
same
the
thing.
difference?
No, it's not. Human trafficking is when you're selling people. Human smuggling is when you're getting people across the border for money. There's like
they're
slaves
coyotes.
and not slaves. You know what I mean? There's a really big difference.
Okay, so
Coyotes versus sex slaves. Got it.
I think in terms of the consequences to these particular
they're
Marines,
about the same for these guys.
They're going to jail. They're going to the brig. In fact, they're in the brig pending trial.
Speaking of other military members in trouble, General Hyten, who apparently is supposedly supposed to be confirmed as the military's second highest officer, is being accused of sexual assault on an Army colonel. Yeah,
well, the Army colonel came forward and said that he did some inappropriate shit to her, and specifically went to her hotel room at the Reagan National Defense Forum in Simi Valley, California, and rubbed up against her and immediately shot his load. That's what she claims.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's worse for him than anyone else.
Well, he also kissed her.
Right.
Yeah.
And so anyway, she threw him a towel and told him to clean himself up.
Really?
Get yourself together.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'll see you in court.
Yikes. That's going to be a big yikes for me, dog.
Anyway, so despite the fact that encounter didn't work out, of course, now General Hyten denies that it ever took place. Denies it.
Naturally.
Well, you have to.
As he would to anyone. Not even a Supreme Court justice, but even his own friends.
Right.
Right.
Himself, he's lying.
Especially his own friends.
Right. So in any event, it's basically, though, his word against her word. And the issue is that from an investigatory point of view, I mean, the guy already had Secret Service protection on him because he was so high ranking. So how indeed could he have gotten to her room without these agents knowing about it? Because they are supposed to accompany him everywhere.
Hey, bud, I'm going to need you to stay here and take a smoke break because it's not going to take me very long. I'll be right back.
It's going to be real quick.
It's going to be real quick.
Real quick. Like, I'm talking a couple of puffs off that cigarette. Don't even get...
I got to go take the pressure off. I'll be right back.
Right. The shame spiral is going to take longer than the act, okay? So
just go ahead and order the ice cream now, and we'll pick it up on our way out.
In fact, why don't you guys go get it and meet me back here?
Be snappy about it.
Oh, boy. Yeah, be quick, because I'm not going to take long, like I said. Anyway, so, yeah. So the point is that General Hyten most likely will get confirmed by the Senate because in a case of word on word, generally the accused wins, not the accuser. In the military construct.
Most constructs.
Yeah, so, like, would his defense be that his Secret Service detail would testify in court that they were with him the whole time? They would be his alibi?
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem like a conflict of interest? Like, he would just tell them to, say that? And it's all 6 word against 1?
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is, even if they, most likely if they saw something, they would say something. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, what can you do? You can only go with the evidence. And it's not like she saved the towel. So.
Yeah, it's true.
Has Monica Lewinsky taught us nothing?
At the end. And then the other thing is that what if she really is, just mad at him for something? I mean, who knows?
Sure.
I mean, I don't know.
That's so damaging. Those fake rape allegations,
and to be honest, that whole scenario does kind of sound like something someone would make up to make it as embarrassing as possible.
And it's so that's the thing about public perception, right? Like, it's easy to turn around. So fake rape allegations make this kind of shit.
I'm pretty quick to drink the Kool-Aid on stuff. Like, I will drink that Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I hear some shit and I just want to believe it.
Yeah.
While her story does sound weak, I'm not going to argue that. It sounds like, she doesn't have a good case. The fact is that she really stands nothing to gain knowing it's a weak case, unless she's just really stupid. Like, what value is there to her fully well knowing that it's probably not going to be enough to prevent anything for him? All she's doing is fucking herself. So either she's super spiteful to the point of being irrational, or she's an idiot, or she's right.
Well, I mean, there's plenty in it for her, really. There's a book deal, potentially, movie rights. There's, all kinds of potential things in it for her.
Possibly, but...
I'm not saying that any of those things are true. I'm just saying that if she plays her cards right, especially if he ends up confirmed, she can end up being this martyr-like figure who came forward at her own cost and didn't accomplish anything but ruin her own career. And so she can go out on the speaking circuit with that. And I mean, there's a lot of different things that she can do as a result of this accusation. I'm not saying that she would do any of those things. I'm just super cynical about all human beings, generally speaking.
You should get a job in marketing, Dad.
Even under those conditions, though, that would presume that it actually happened.
Right. Well, not really. I mean, if we presume that, for example, it didn't happen and she's just doing this for that purpose, then that it would make sense then that we'll see her on the speaking circuit later on.
Yeah.
So we'll check back in on this story in 5 to 10 years.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think anybody gives enough of a shit about the story. I mean, just stories like this come out about the president every day, and it doesn't do anything to get people's attention.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Does anybody else have any crazy news, or should we move on to sports?
Moving on to, I don't know, there's all kinds of news out there, man. So much news. One other quick news item, just space. So
Space.
Yeah, so the SpaceX Dragon capsule made it to the International Space Station. This particular capsule has already been used 2 prior times. It's the 3rd time that it has been to the station. The Falcon rocket that took it there, the booster flew on back, and it was the first time that it had been reused. So basically
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. A completely reused mission, which is the goal of SpaceX, to make space more affordable, and they're getting the job done.
Hell yeah. That's the kind of space I like. So I did see this one thing. I mean, it's not news. It's just I was just thinking about Elon Musk and how he is evil in some respects, but he's also, pushing forward our quality of life, I guess.
He's pushing forward on our frontiers.
Right. I mean, don't look at his factories too closely, but other than that, he's doing great. But there was this whole comment thread about how Bill Nye just does not give a fuck about people who don't believe in climate change. He's like, he will show up on your fucking doorstep and slap you with a, I don't know.
That seems like he gives a fuck.
With a dead fish?
Yeah. That dive.
He's going to show up to your house. He gives a fuck.
He doesn't want to listen to any sort of climate change deniers. He's like,
Okay.
I don't have time for you. Like, you're an idiot. Here's the evidence. You know the evidence. Shut the fuck up. Like, he doesn't have time to debate. He doesn't have time to listen. Like, it's happening. Let's figure it out. But there was a thing that was like, that really seems like an intro to a supervillain. This guy gets really frustrated with the fact that the world's dying and nobody wants to listen, and they just want to talk about it and not do anything about it. And so supervillain origin story, trying to fix climate change, Bill Nye.
Right. And so how does he become a villain? Then,
just by fixing stuff, you know,
got it.
just going off the rails and not really paying attention to the whole laws about it and just fixing it.
Well, as we all know, every superhero needs a supervillain. So are you foreseeing that Elon Musk is going to become the supervillain and Bill Nye is going to be the superhero?
Or the other way around. I'm a little confused about this
I think they're
analogy.
going to form a league of villains. The two of them.
Got it. Okay.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of,
Yes.
total side note, who has seen the trailer for the new Mr. Rogers movie with Tom Hanks? Can we all just agree that Mr. Rogers is the role Tom Hanks was born to play? Like, his whole acting career has brought him to this point.
Yeah, I mean, why don't we just go ahead and give Tom Hanks an Oscar right now?
Let's do it.
Let's just give him an Oscar.
Yeah, his medal's in the mail.
Did you guys ever watch the documentary of Mr. Rogers? I think it was just called Mr. Rogers or something.
But I watched the trailer of the documentary and I felt like I got the gist.
Yeah, I wanted to.
Mr. Rogers, children's TV host or savage killer?
Nice. Mr. Rogers, ex-killer. No, so my deal with Mr. Rogers is that, I should love him. He's this wonderful giver of light in the world. But God, so fucking boring. I couldn't watch his show as a kid. I hated that because it was just, shoot me now. It's so boring. So I couldn't watch the documentary either. And I won't watch the Tom Hanks movie. I'm just happy that he's playing him.
I see. Well, it's a shame you're not going to watch the Tom Hanks movie because you're going to miss out on his dark side.
The ex-killer side.
He was, super human rights, had black people on TV when that was a no-no type thing.
Yeah,
so.
no, he's a
Without
wonderful...
the dark side.
Yeah, no, he's like the second coming of Jesus, but without all the guilt and martyrdom.
Right.
Yeah.
No, he wore that sweater because he had tattoos from his neck to his wrists.
That is not true. That is an urban legend, but it's a good one.
They were kill marks for every Vietnamese soldier he slayed in combat.
Nice.
Hand-to-hand combat too. He got captured and was put in a Thunderdome type situation where they just threw wave upon wave of Viet Cong at him and he slew them all one by one.
Then later on in his tiger cage, he would do these little hand-drawn tats on his chest of every one of his kills.
He would dip a bamboo stalk in some ink and then just fucking...
Right, that they left around for him.
Yeah, someone would drop in the same spot.
Every night, the ink. That was his reward for his victory. They'd give him ink.
That was his, little triumph he gave himself.
Yeah. So he could tattoo the number of kills on him. Freshly slain Viet Cong.
Right.
Just like the freshly slain kiwi that you can enjoy at Zips.
Second
Did you ever
plug,
do the
Zips.
Zips thing?
Second plug.
Or was that scrapped in version 1?
Oh, no. They're just getting an extra because it fits so nicely
Yeah, it did.
in the story.
It really did.
It needed
I
to be
found the
said.
post, by the way.
What's that?
I said I found the Bill Nye post.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't have time for any of that.
Bill Nye in your mouth.
If you say the word
Whoa.
Wait a minute.
Minute.
Wait a minute. Back.
That just took a turn.
Yeah.
It's a song. It's just a song. It's okay.
Oh, all right.
do you have some repressed trauma that you're
I just made the song up just now, but it's okay.
Right. It's
Lullaby.
it's not like I'm having a repressed memory come back, if that's what you're thinking.
It's not like I went to a book signing that Bill Nye was at and he, asked me to see him in his private office.
I mean, that never happened. Nor did he unzip his pants slowly with a jingling sound. That didn't happen
And with
either.
one kiss, ejaculate.
subscribe
Nor did he say Bill Nye the Science Guy in
Well-
your mouth.
while Bill Nye was playing in the background.
Bill Nye the Science Guy in your mouth.
Thanks for ruining that, guys.
Yeah.
Good job.
No problem.
They took it way too far.
Oh, all right. So anyway, we got it. Bill Nye doesn't have time for climate deniers. Check. All right, on to sports. Are there any sports? Football hasn't started yet, so there's not that. UFC 240, I understand, was kind of a bust.
I mean, Holloway won, and that's all I gave a shit about.
I had $1 on that fight, so yee.
All right. Well, you won $1, yo. Oh.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, the fights were fighty, but they weren't phenomenal.
Yeah, I understand. That's my understanding. That the fights were just, so-so. Cyborg won in the decision, which is unusual for her.
That
Yeah,
was
she
unusual.
usually doesn't have fights that long. That other girl took an ass whooping for sure.
15 minutes kind of pieced her.
And then Cyborg, after she won, Joe Rogan came in there and he was like, yeah, I'm here with your winner, Cyborg, blah, 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 talking to her. And then she talks. And I'm like, if it turns out that this woman is actually secretly a man, I'm not going to be surprised.
Nobody is, dude. Nobody at all is.
Her voice is deeper than mine, for real, for real.
And you have a pretty deep voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, what I read was that, I read two things. First of all, that Dana White later said that basically Cyborg is in the twilight of her career and wants to take easier fights now. I read
He was
that.
talking shit. He said he offered her Amanda Nunes like twice, like a rematch with her again, and she said no. She was scared, which I don't believe. I don't believe Cyborg is scared of any woman. Or man, for that matter. She don't think
Yeah.
she's scared of anyone.
Okay.
I think Dana White was just saying that shit because either he
Uncle
wants her
Dana
off
being
the
Uncle
roster.
Dana.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. And then the second thing I heard is that Joe Rogan's commentary was not that good in this particular pay-per-view event. And
It wasn't.
Yeah.
John Anik totally carried
I wasn't really
Rogan through
listening.
that. Yeah, you showed up for like the final fight, but
Yeah, that's really the only one I gave a shit about was the co-main and main event.
yeah. Rogan was like multiple times we were like, is he like on a bathroom break or what? And then he would chime in.
Yeah. And then I hear it wasn't that cogent when he did chime in. So,
Yeah, whatever.
yeah.
I don't give a fuck about Joe Rogan. I could not care less about Joe Rogan.
I saw a great, maybe you saw this, Nick, on Reddit. It was a picture of a homeless guy with listening to something, and it's like the caption said something to the effect of, "I've taken Joe Rogan's advice and have quit my job and I'm listening to his podcast right now while I'm drinking my mushroom-infused tea."
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever advised anyone to quit their job, but well, actually, yeah, yes. He says if you hate your job, quit your job.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. That's super responsible of you to advocate.
No, there's some value to it. I mean, basically, get a different job. I mean, if
Yeah,
you
but
need,
he leaves that part out because he assumes that his followers are smart enough to come up with that part. But guess what? They're fucking not.
Wow.
wow,
What
think
did
that's
Joe Rogan do to you?
I think
Have you
that's
been
directed
hurt?
at you, Nick. By the way.
I think so.
I just
Joe Rogan
I
hurt
hate-
you.
Oh my god.
What did he
I
do to
got
you?
beef with Joe Rogan. Let's not get into it.
Okay.
Look,
Fair
Joe
enough.
Rogan's he'll drink the Kool-Aid too. He's one of those people who like.
I just don't
he
think that
hears
he's
some
the
shit.
end all fucking be all, and people like
I don't
worship
either.
him, and it drives me fucking crazy.
Well, I don't either. But the main reason I listen to him is the people he has on. That's
And
the only reason.
I can respect that, but I also feel like
And he's
you
got
don't
some
need
cool
to give
stories.
everybody a fucking platform too. Like
I think there's a big importance to having someone on a platform where it's not television, where you could just sit there and have an actual conversation with someone so you
Sure.
can hear what it's like for them to talk,
sure.
rather than how they're portrayed in certain aspects of the media.
And I agree with that, but I also don't think that I can't even think of what the fuck is the crazy red guys, the crazy fucking conspiracy theorist, the InfoWars guy.
Oh, yeah, Alex
Alex Jones.
Jones.
Yeah, you don't need to fucking give Alex Jones a bigger audience.
Well,
like you
he's
fucking
known-
don't.
But
He's
did,
known Alex Jones for long before all this shit ever happened. Like
Great.
when he first started
Keep him off the
InfoWars.
fucking podcast. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
Well, I mean, Alex Jones. Look. I don't like that fucking guy. He's a fucking weirdo. He's a dumbass. But it's all an act. Like he doesn't really believe any of that shit.
Great.
It's just for money. Like,
Well, then Joe Rogan is just fucking in it for money too.
well, no, he's just allowing this guy who is his friend, who's been his friend since before. He's been his friend before you knew who the fuck before anyone
Fine.
knew who the fuck he
Fine.
was. That's how he knows him.
Fine.
How we know him is this crazy asshole from InfoWars.
Yeah.
But that's not how he knows him. That's just his friend.
But do you know? But by putting him on the Joe Rogan show, all of these young, impressionable men will now go to InfoWars and listen to more of his fucking rhetoric drivel.
Okay, look, if you're dumb enough to listen to Alex Jones on Joe Rogan and then say, oh, I need to go listen to InfoWars, the problem there is not Joe Rogan. That's the listener.
It is the listener's problem, but Joe Rogan facilitates that. Okay, doesn't matter. He does this shit all the time.
Wait a minute. Do you think that I've watched Alex Jones on
No,
Joe
but you're
Rogan's
smart.
podcast?
You're smart, Nick.
Okay, what does Joe Rogan have to do with any of that?
well, here's what I would say, which is that I did not even know that Joe Rogan had Alex Jones on his podcast. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
because you're
big
also
time.
smart, Dad, and you don't listen to Joe fucking Rogan.
There's a disconnect here. Like the stupidity you're applying is not being applied to the right person in this.
Maybe I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't think he should be the end all be all.
Well,
I don't
he's
think
not.
he should either. I don't
There's-
think he.
And I
Yeah.
think if I hear about Joe Rogan in my house one more fucking time, I'm gonna lose my
Hey,
shit.
look! Sometimes he has someone on there that says some crazy ass shit that I never heard. Adam Greentree, that
Yeah.
crazy Australian bow hunter. If I see that
Yes,
Joe Rogan is
does have
interviewing
good shit.
that guy, I'm gonna listen to that. That dude's gonna have a crazy story about killing a mountain lion with a Bowie knife or some shit.
Here's the thing: is
Yeah.
that he has some cool shit, but he's also problematic, just like anything fucking else in the world.
All right. Well,
I
so
don't think he's problematic.
Joe Rogan? I don't think so. I know Alex
Problematic?
Jones,
I
on
don't
the
think
other
he's
hand.
causing problems. Alex Jones, yeah, he's problematic.
All right.
All right. So here's the point. I've quit my job and have decided to become a homeless person. Thanks, Joe Rogan.
Thanks, Joe. Jamie, pull that up.
All right. So anyway, yeah. So that's 240. UFC 240 breakdown. No surprises there, really. Max Holloway won, right? Didn't he?
Yeah.
So there you go. Maybe 243 or what's the next one? 241, presumably.
Yeah, presumably.
Yeah, maybe 241 will have a more thrilling slate of fighters.
I think 241 is in Mexico City,
Hmm.
and Yair Rodriguez is fighting some bitch I don't know. And then it's rumored that the Korean Zombie and Brian Ortega are going to fight, which should be pretty good.
That will be a good fight. I'm interested in that.
All right. Well, hopefully they'll do that. And we are just a few days away from actually the football season getting underway. Next month.
That's
Next
very
month.
exciting for you guys, I'm sure.
Well, I'm moderately happy, although to be perfectly candid, the way that the NFL has devolved in the last few years, I'm not as excited as I used to be. I shan't lie.
I hear that every year. Every year I hear that more and more. Is that just everything's changed.
Yeah, it's just not the
Can't play
same football game.
defense anymore, and fucking
Well,
a
it's
lot of different rules.
well, not only that, it's that once you really understand that these guys, these gladiators, are literally, a lot of them are sacrificing their health for the rest of their lives for this contest. It's like, gee, it seems trivial. It seems like a trivial thing to ruin your life over and for me to participate in, even through my viewership. So I'm going to have to find some new tribal affiliation besides the Broncos. We're tribal people. The Broncos are my tribe. So I'm going to have to find some new way to,
You're going to become a nomad.
I'm going to have some kind of new identity besides a Broncos fan. I don't know what it'll be.
I think you have more of an identity than being a Broncos fan. That'd be pretty pathetic if you didn't, to be honest.
I know you think that, son, but inside this thick...
It's the only one that matters to us.
That's right.
I fucking have.
That's right. If you pull me apart, you'll just see blue and orange. That's all you'll see. And some blood. So don't do that, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
There might be some viscera in there, too, with some different colors. Anyway, the point is I don't want to fall behind a freezer. That's the point.
Don't want to fall behind. God damn, that would just suck so fucking bad.
Oh.
Like
18-inch gap.
Yeah. It's
Like how wide am I even to begin with?
I wonder if he broke his neck.
Like if it's an 18-inch thing, can't you just shimmy up the wall?
Well, I don't know. It depends. What if he fell ass first and then got folded like a chair? You know what I mean?
Holy shit.
Well,
dude.
the bigger question is this. What the hell was he doing on top of those coolers anyway? What was he doing up there?
It all sounds bullshit, doesn't it? None of that makes sense. None of that adds up.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It's kind of like the same story about this guy bunking with special forces operators for a few months.
Yeah,
how the fuck does that happen?
Shit fly?
That doesn't make sense. Oh, heavens.
That's more impressive, though, because, no one's really actively looking behind a cooler.
Is it more impressive, though?
Listen. He said he was a special forces demolitions expert. Bunking with others trained ass
on that guy is what I'm hearing.
I'm just saying, how did these special forces guys not look at each other and go, doesn't this guy seem like he's full of shit to you? Right. He doesn't seem like he's been in the shit like we have.
Right, and he doesn't participate in any of our training activities.
Yeah, he says he's exempt because he's a demolition.
All right, if that's what he says.
That's what he says then. Have a seat, bud. Crack a cold one.
All right, so, yeah. Anyway, same kind of deal. Well, anyway, what do you got coming up in the week? Nothing special for me this week.
Pain and despair. Hey, I have a question, though.
Yeah.
What do you... all this talk, all this lovely, invigorating talk about dead people.
Yeah.
What, if you were going to be executed for whatever,
yeah,
what would your last meal be?
Oh, my last meal?
Yeah.
I would say bring me 2 dinosaur eggs over easy and take your time.
I've got time.
So, you don't have dinosaurs' eggs? Well, why don't you just go ahead and get some DNA and raise some up and squat them eggs out? I'll wait.
I would rather just get executed, dog. I'm not going to sit there on death row for the rest until I die of old age while I'm putting them on some dumbass goose chase. If they're going to execute, my options are be killed right now or just rot in a cell until I'm killed of old age. Then let's just wrap this up right now.
Yeah, I want some legit mac and cheese and a steak the size of my face.
All right, how could you enjoy that though, knowing that the end of the meal, dessert is you get whacked? I just don't see how you could enjoy that meal.
So you would enjoy it better? You would enjoy just sitting there?
I'd enjoy
you die of old age in a square cell?
I'd enjoy it better than, eating a nice, delicious meal and then being hung by the neck until dead until the feces squirt from my anus.
I don't think that's usually in the criteria for how long they hang you. And I don't think they do the hanging anymore either, dude. But
they might. I think it depends.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe in Texas.
No, I think it's all electric chair or shoot you up with some kind of chemical.
Yeah.
But
chemical.
Old Sparky.
I'd rather do a fucking firing squad because they fuck up that chemical sometimes.
Well, I fuck up firing squad sometimes. I mean, there's no foolproof method.
Instead of the blank shot thing where only one person has the real fucking
all of
bullet,
them. All of them.
All of them. Yeah, just do all of them.
Yeah.
so there's no chance.
Oh, wow. That was 21 bullets right in his face. Well, he does
Right
not
to
look
the
good.
back of the head.
Right. Well, anyway, yeah. So actually, I mean, you're just asking, if you ask what's the last meal you'd want before you die, really you're just asking, hey, what's your favorite meal? Right.
No. It has more gravity if it's like, this is the last one you're ever going to eat. You know what I mean?
Not really. I mean, you still want your favorite, don't you? It's like, oh, I was going to have my favorite, but since it's my last one, I've always been meaning to try caviar.
Go out on a shitty note, and I'll just have some lima bean soup. Dude.
I mean,
let's just make the whole thing as miserable as possible.
All right, I've never had quail. I hear it's good. I'm going to try it. No, you're going to get your favorite, right? You know, you're going to get your favorite. So what would I get? I'd probably get,
like it?
What's that?
Yeah, because what if you don't like it?
No, you'd get
I'll
your
have
favorite.
a silver platter of quail's eyeballs, please.
Right, exactly. I hear it's delicious. No, I'm gonna go ahead and get pizza and ice cream. I mean, we can get down to the details later, but in general, I'm gonna get a nice supreme pizza, and maybe a
Why
nice.
are you saying it like that?
What's that?
Why are you saying it like that?
Well, like what?
Pizza.
I'm not saying pizza. What do you think I'm lisping?
You did.
I said pizza.
It sounded like you said that one time. Pizza.
I didn't say pizza. It's suffering succotash.
Pizza and ice cream.
Well, that's like you're full of shit. Anyway, no, pizza and ice cream. That's what I'd get.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to do the playback, see if I did say pizza, but I meant pizza.
Sure you did twice.
I think you did at least once.
Huh.
I heard pizza.
Well, I meant pizza. Pizza.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were doing a bit.
No,
So.
well, you're doing a bit. You are. I'm not.
Apparently.
Anyway, pizza and ice cream. That's what I'd get. Damn.
What kind of ice cream?
Well, it's
Some
prop.
peanut butter.
I was going to tell you. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Ben and Jerry's, Reese's peanut butter cup. That's what I'd get.
Yeah. And then just like a big ice cold glass of water just to wash it all down.
Or maybe an ice cold glass
I'll
of.
tack a sundae onto the end of my steak and mac and cheese.
Oh, good idea. Yeah, I mean that'd be good. That would also be a good choice. Would be like a 32-ounce ribeye.
Yeah.
A big ass old ribeye. With,
But I have to have Gordon Ramsay cook it.
right. Of course. I mean, if you're going for the gusto,
Right.
this meal is going to take a while. You're going to have to fly in Gordon Ramsay.
Please.
Well, yeah. What's that?
Only the best for me,
Of
please.
course, only the best. The best. All right. Anyway, good question, Nick. And you? What's your last meal?
I'm gonna just go with yours, dude.
What about Elsie? Where'd Elsie go?
Elsie, the minute we said sports, she left.
Oh.
Yeah, she just hauled ass. She's like, I'm not doing this.
So Elsie
That's
gets
fine.
nothing.
Yeah, Elsie gets nothing. But I'm gonna hijack yours, except I'm going for meat lovers stuffed crust pizza.
Oh, that's good thinking, dog.
Stuff that fucking crust. Quadruple stuff that fucking crust.
Don't you skimp on that cheese.
Don't you dare do it, man. When someone tells me, someone's like, hey, let's get a pizza, and I'm like, cool, stuffed crust, and they're like, no. Everything just goes black and white.
Right, you see red. Right, they're in for a savage beating if that's the case.
Yeah.
All right, so stuffed crust pizza, and then what kind of ice cream?
That time he did do it on purpose. I know he did. The kind of ice cream.
What do you mean stuff? I said stuffed crust pizza. That's what I said. I'm saying pizza.
Lose my shit.
I'm not saying pizza. I'm saying pizza. It just sounds like pizza. I didn't.
Lies.
I never did. It's pizza. Oh my god.
All right.
Shit.
What kind of ice cream? I want that fucking fudge, the chocolate with fudge brownie Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
You know
that's a
what
good
else is
choice.
That's
really
my
good?
fucking jam, bro.
Right.
I really like Cold Stone pistachio ice cream.
Oh, that's good. That's real good stuff right there.
I don't think I've ever had that, but
Me
I
either.
didn't think I would like it because I don't like mint.
me either. But it sounds good.
It really does.
Look,
Wait,
if you
there's mint in it.
no.
I
So
hate
there's
goddamn minty ice
Right.
cream.
There's two kinds of ice cream, right? There's green ice cream. There's the mint ice cream and there's the pistachio. And I always thought that the pistachio would be nasty because it's green like the mint ice cream. No, fucking, it's fire.
Okay,
It's
I'm just
fire.
saying, like,
It's
mint,
bomb, yo.
there's
All right.
certain foods that should not have mint in it. You know what I mean? Why would you put
Well,
like?
it's not like the leafy mint. It's like peppermint, and they lie to you about it.
Still though, I don't care. Like you shouldn't have the feeling that you're brushing your teeth while you're eating ice cream. You know what I mean?
I agree with
Sure.
that.
You wouldn't put mint in pizza, would you? No, of course you wouldn't. That'd be fucking gross. Peppermint pizza? Get the fuck out of here, bro. That's disgusting. That's a war crime.
Right.
So why the fuck do people like minty ice cream?
I don't know. I can't explain it to you. It's not my bag. I can tell you that. I mean, I'll eat it because it's ice cream, but it's
For
not
sure,
my
though,
favorite.
y'all should give the pistachio a try if you ever
Okay.
have the opportunity.
Well, yeah. If I'm on death's row, I'll strongly consider getting pistachio.
In addition, of course, just like a small, what do they call it? A like it size? Get a like it size.
Just for my last meal, I want one quick run through, one single size of every single flavor they have at Cold Stone.
Right. Like it. I like that. Okay, good. All right. Well, that was good talk, kids. Anything we're missing? I don't think we are. I don't think we're missing much. No, I don't think so. A Shin Show is a production of Shinfluence. It features the voices and opinions of the Shin family, which are entirely and exclusively their own. It's brought to you on a fake basis by Ziffs, fine dining in Invercargill, New Zealand, and by The Throne Room. Tattoos, also in Invercargill, New Zealand. Both The Throne Room and Ziffs, proud fake sponsors of A Shin Show for more than 100th of a century. Be sure and listen to A Shin Show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or wherever you get your podcasts, assuming, of course, you are listening, in which case you should stop at once. Join us again next week when we'll hear Sarah Shin say...
Bill Nye has fucking snapped. If you say the words Chinese hoax, he'll personally teleport to your location, set you on fire, and tell you that, oh no, boo-hoo, you can't stop being on fire because it costs too much money to not be on fire because it's just not worth extinguishing you. He'll stab an oil company executive with a knife hidden under his light blue lab coat. The man has gone off the civility rails. He is absolutely living. I admire him fully. Go Bill Nye.
Wow. I guess you don't have to really wait for next week for that. You can hear it right fucking now.
I was just going to say in your mouth there at the end.
I should have probably thrown it over to you, Nick. What can I say?
Would you like me to do the whole bit over again?
No, it's fine. It's a good
just
bit.
imagine that at the end of that, I said in your mouth.
Yeah.
Go Bill Nye in your mouth. I'm going to go Bill Nye in your mouth. I'm changing
man.
Bill Nye to a verb, to a sexual verb.
Yeah.
For 100, please.
Oh man, this is I'm glad Bill Nye doesn't listen to us because
that chick from the bar last night, Bill Nye the shit out of her mouth, dude.
Does that involve graduated cylinders? Like,
yeah,
I'm not at liberty to discuss that without her signing that full disclosure.
Right. That's good. All right. Well, I hope you have a good week, kids. I love you.
Love you too.
Love you too. Drive safe. Eat your milk. Wear your seatbelt.
Right.
Make good choices.
Drink 8 hours of sleep every night.
Yeah, I'll do all of those things.